We've got to talk about footy and climate change, two of my favourite topics. The Fremantle Dockers, who have been sponsored by Woodside, that massive resources company in the West, they've signed a new deal for 2 years. Good on them. They need all the help they can, the Dockers. But Oliver, the idea from climate activists suggesting they're disappointed about this, that it's the wrong thing to do. You shouldn't take money from this evil big company that happens to bankroll the Western Australian economy, not to mention the national economy. This stuff is nutty, isn't it?
Oh, big time, Chris. It's worth $2 million. I mean, corporate Australia is providing $2 million at the moment to the Fremantle Dockers. If Woodside's not there, then who else is going to be providing it, to be honest? It's a 2-year deal that's rolled over. It's a partnership that's been there since 2010. It's gone bananas on the talkback lines the last couple of days, Chris. And everyone's saying good on Woodside and good on Freo, because they do such amazing work, you know, beyond the football realms, with the academies, within some of the remote communities, Indigenous communities here in Western Australia as well. And so they should continue to support the Fremantle Football Club. Carmen Lawrence, the former Premier, she led the charge about a year ago with an open letter along with Tim Winton, threatening to tear up their memberships. They won't be part of the Fremantle Football Club. And of course, Freo, we know it's the most progressive place probably in Australia. They were first to try and move on Australia Day, but I'm really happy the football club's come to their senses with Woodside for at least another 2 years. And let's hope that it continues even longer than that, Chris.
Yeah, absolutely. They've got to stand up for the company in the way that there's a company standing up for them. And see, Susie, this is what really worries me here, right? This is where our whole society, and it's getting perpetuated through our schooling system, but it's so divorced from reality. Do we not understand that our whole civilization and all our modern prosperity is based on cheap energy? That's how we got here. That's how we're keeping it going. And these companies and their investments and their resources, that's what we're still riding on now. And yet they want to make them demonise them in some way.
Well, I would say that the players of the Fremantle Dockers have got every right to express their opinion about whether the company is in line with their own values. The players have got a stake in this. They're the ones wearing the logos. But some random climate scientist attacking Woodside Energy for being a fossil fuel company when it's actually leading the way in a lot of renewable projects. I think we saw Woodside, the wind farm off the coast that just got the kibosh, is a Woodside project. And, you know, they've been supporting that club for 14 years, and I'm sure they're a lot more progressive in terms of their renewable targets and their projects than they were back then, and they should be congratulated for that and for putting their money where their mouth is. $2 million to the Dockers. They need every cent.
Yeah, well, I don't think the players should bite the hand that feeds them. If they're happy to play for the club and take the money, they shouldn't be going out there grandstanding and bagging the company. If they want to bag Woodside, then go off and play for some other team. There's probably a team down at Margaret River that's sponsored by a mutton bean company. They can go and play there. Hey, I want to stick on footy, Susie, because you've written about the AFL Grand Final today and what is becoming an increasing problem now that it's actually a national competition, not just a VFL one. That is that there's only 32,000 tickets for the two competing clubs because there's so many corporates and holiday packages and MCG members and whatever. Surely there's 100,000 people in the stadium. You've at least got to save half of the tickets, 50,000, to go 25 each to the two teams that are actually in the game.
And it's even more stark when one of the clubs has got 100,000 members like Collingwood, and so you've got people who have guaranteed grand final tickets. They're paying $1,000 a year for their membership, and they were either missed out or given standing room only or nosebleed seats up the back. It's an absolutely appalling way to treat fans who are loyal, and those fans, you don't get more loyal fans than Collingwood, let's be honest. And you know, we're in this bizarre scenario where, like, the Brisbane club can't even fill their allocation of 17,000 seats, whereas Collingwood, you know, they can't even beg, borrow and steal one. So, you know, meanwhile, you've got, as you said, 30,000 corporates, you've got MCC members. I mean, what an outrage that we're giving them so many tickets when they get the right every year to go to the grand final. You've got a club like Collingwood, they only get it once a decade and they're probably going to lose, they'll, you know, choke like normal. So it really is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, and I think as you say, there's different. It's harder to get there from Brisbane as well. But I think you have that allocation. If you haven't sold it in the first 2 days, then the rest of it can go to the other club. But I do think you overstate the numbers for Collingwood, because there's a lot of those Collingwood supporters, of course, won't be able to get day release to get to the game. So the numbers aren't actually that bad. I just want to stick on footy for a moment, on this problem for a moment, Ollie, because I saw this post on Facebook today, which really characterises the desire to get these tickets. A couple of Collingwood supporters saying they're prepared to swap 2 Taylor Swift tickets for 2 grand final tickets. Looks like a fair deal to me, Ollie.
Yeah, it's not a bad deal, is it, Chris? And I've got to say, a shout out to Glenn of Dawesville, who called me this afternoon, was on his way to the airport on a Jetstar flight, which got cancelled and rerouted for Sunday night. The good news is, though, he's a Dockers fan, so they're not in the grand final. So even though he had tickets, he might be able to sell them for those with the Taylor Swift tickets scenario, trying to swap for the Collingwood tickets. And now we're going to have WWE over here next year as well, Chris, on the same weekend as Taylor Swift. So, I mean, I know it's your birthday today. Will you be going to Tay-Tay or the World Wrestling Entertainment?
I wouldn't be interested in either of those, mate, but I do have a sister who would give anything for some Taylor Swift tickets for her and her daughters, and I haven't been able to help her out. Hey, I just want to finish up on Meghan and Harry. They're creating waves again. People revealing how when they're doing a bit of filming, even with sort of down-and-out kids in tough schools, they're making all these demands for nice cushions and fancy carpets and whatever. These two are never going to stop surprising us, Susie.
Oh, they're not. This does not surprise me at all. And not only that, did they have the decor demand, the decor rider, but what they made them do is sign a gag order. So this down and out school, they had to actually agree in order to attract this couple in their Meghan in her $8,000 outfit, that they would not disparage the couple publicly. And there were a whole lot of things they weren't allowed to say and they weren't allowed to do, particularly in public afterwards. And I think that's an absolutely appalling way to treat school kids and teachers. What a disgrace these two are.
$8,000 outfit, and that was just her casual day wear. Just amazing stuff out of poor school. Thanks for joining us, Oliver and Susie. Enjoy the grand final weekend.